So the question is, are you ready? Yes. What I wanted to hear.
Was good with it. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. You guys are ready, right? So put your seatbelt on, tuck it in, and get ready, homies, because we're about to get into another episode of the Collective Clips, and I got a great story to tell today. All actual, factual, no added preservatives, Menudo styles, direct fashions, just like Gunners Collective. You know what it is, man. We're gonna really get it in today. You guys see the thumbnail, and you ask yourself, "Well, sounds good. That ain't nothing but a guy wearing a CDC shirt with his back turned to us, looking at a mural." But there's a lot more meaning to it. The meaning is you could be anything you want to be if you put your mind to it and if you choose to walk correctly, in that strive. If you get out after being incarcerated or you get locked up constantly and you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. It's just like a big old circle. That's the circle of life, homie. If you keep going left, you're never going to get right. You're just going to keep ending up in the same spot where you started. You can't run a race and run it backwards, homie. If you do that, you'll never get the touchdown. Now trip out. Guard! Can I fucking talk? We're about to get into these collective clips and keep it real. Now, here's a story that I wanted to tell. And it's about an individual who just can't get right. Every time he got out of prison, he went right back. Now, he was a homie of mine, a big homie of mine. And when I say big homie, I don't mean, man, part of any agenda or organization. I mean, he was just, a brother that laced me up well and a brother, man, that I took a lot of educational things from and got a lot of game from. He was a real one. But at the same time, he was a real stupid one. And I say stupid, not stupid as a man, but stupid in life as a man. And the reason why was because he kept doing the same old things that kept getting him incarcerated. See, he was stuck in that spoon. He was stuck on that sack. He was what you call sack chasing, man. He was one of those guys that just couldn't get his shit together. Now, I remember telling myself, and one day looking in the mirror and saying, damn, you're just like him. You grew up to be just like him. You can't get your shit together. You constantly are in and out of prison, in and out of jail, incarcerated, in bad relationships. This could, so let's keep it real. I'm not only talking about incarceration all the time. This could be a bad relationship. You could be with a toxica, a straight torta toxica, right? Someone who just weighs a little overweight, right? So it'd be like that after 4 kids by 3 different men. And also, right? It's just the argument, man. You're putting yourself in that situation. Instead of eliminating that and taking yourself away from that, you go back. That pussy's that good, right? It smells like crimson and clover. And you got to be right there, all up in the mix. Toxica ways, and that turns you into a toxico. Next thing you know, you guys are going back and forth, man, and it's just a repeat cycle. It's ugly. Anyways, this guy would get out and go back in, and he decided that for no other reason, he was going to change his attitude and his mind right. But he didn't do it in the way that we would think he would do it. See, I woke up one day and I decided, I rolled over in that mattress, that hard-ass mattress in that cell on that 3-yard, and I decided one day, this shit ain't for me no more, man. Not necessarily the gang life. I was already done with that. But the whole life in general of the way I was leading. Because you don't have to be gang related and all that to be out there fucking up. We're talking about people that get straight to the streets and straight to the business. Automatically, didn't hesitate, didn't wait, didn't pass go, collect no 200, didn't eat no sopita before I left, just went straight to the streets and got with the program. Now, at that point in time that I was doing all this funky stuff and acting a fool, I was with the program. I was with, all the activities. So I would get out and my agenda would be to push for the Norteño cause, to push in any way necessary that it would help my people and defend my gente. And some of them times, man, I was on the offensive rather than the defensive. So I was out there doing a lot of stupid stuff that didn't encompass the North and didn't shed a good light. I was doing it for self-greed and gratification. That was what a motherfucker was doing. I wanted to be that one. I wanted to shine right so I could get my mind right. But instead of getting my mind right and doing what was right by myself and my family, because you got to get your shit together before you could help anyone else, I didn't care about none of that. All I cared about is how strangers looked at me, how strangers respected and feared me. All I cared about is how that chick looked at me, winked one time for a mind, and then I put it in her stink one time for my mind. That's just how that was. Okay, I never thought about later on what tax bracket I was going to be in, if I was going to have a proper education, if I was going to, have some type of certification in what I was doing. I thought I was verified in the streets. I didn't have to get verified by anyone else, right? I thought I was certified. But lo and behold, man, in this real world that we live in, you ain't shit if you don't know shit. And I didn't know the correct things. I knew a lot about the streets, but I didn't know a lot about the workplace, about raising a family, about being a father to my children, about being a real man. And now that I sit back and I think about it, I'm glad I finally caught on. That's it. I'm glad I finally caught on. So anyways, this homeboy would get in and out of prison, right? And he was doing the same old thing. We were used to it. So I was he'd be, what happened to the homeboy, right? And I'm not going to mention no names because this is still a good homie right here. You know, a friend of mine. But it got ugly. So anyways, for a minute. So anyways, he would get in and out. And I remember asking, hey, where's the homie? And they'd be, I heard he just got out. Shit, did you hear he just went back in? Nah, right? And it started becoming so frequent that his time from out to in was less and less and less. I said, just keep that motherfucker right there. You're wasting time. Let the other homeboy that's facing light, let him out. So asking, he might do a little bit better. A little bit, right? It got to that point where it was like you didn't even know when he was locked up or what bid he was on. Hey, bro, damn, how long you been out? Well, shoot, what time? You know, it was that frequent. It was because he would get out and get straight to the business. Now, I had a lot of homeboys like that. Like I said, I participated in them reindeer games myself. A homeboy that gets out and gets straight to the program. Now, unless you obligate yourself and you're in a certain group or organization or have status and you obligate yourself to something that's bigger than yourself, then you are obligated. Then you have put your life on that line. You have signed that dotted line, blood in, blood out. You have let everyone know, man, this is your agenda and you're with the program and this is what is intended and the purpose of what you have to do. And you know that. Anyone who's really been in the game like that knows that. Those of you poop butts that were never in that type of game, says, I'm not saying you were poop butt if you weren't. You're actually smart, right? But those that fucking act like they are or act like they're somebody but never really did the time like that, then you would never know this. And this motherfucking spill is not for you unless you're going to get some knowledge you can't get in college out of it. Real talk. But those of you that do understand and do know, recognize with the words that are coming out of my mouth when I say real talk, homeboy, there's sometimes when you obligate yourself, you just have to get out there and get that money, homes, get that feria, and make sure everybody is comfortable sitting in that county jail and make sure that everyone is comfortable sitting on that yard. Whether it may be good or bad, hey, it is what it is. But this guy wasn't obligated like that. This guy was only obligated to himself, right? So every time he would get out, he would get back in that spoon, get back on that pipa, 10-2, his twist game. You know what I mean? That vato was playing Twister on the daily. His shit looked like a fucking tornado. Just, he knew how to fucking twist that pipa. And that was his thing. And he would get locked up, and it came to pass where it was just like, whatever, man. It was normal. I felt bad for him. I wanted to get at him, pull his earlobe off, and let him know, Holmes, hey, it's starting to become redundant, and it's starting to become, I'm ashamed, that's it. You know, it's starting to become a little too much. You're not with the activities like that. You ain't never been with the activities like that. Now, all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You're acting like you're Billy Badass running around here, giving us a bad name and making us look like poop butts, and that's what we're not about the hood. Now, this guy goes in for a stretch, like a 6-year stretch, and he starts to become affiliated. He starts to obligate himself to certain situations. Let's just say that. And his name starts to circulate around the town. Like everyone's hearing about his name. Like, oh shit, the homie's doing it. Like, I never seen that one coming. That Vato must have sobered up for real though. You know, she's the girl in the movie and he's the hero, right? So he put his cape on and went to Captain Save-A-Hoeing himself and became somebody within the game. Let's just say that. His name was starting to become respected. Now, I knew him for what he was just a homeboy that was a repeat offender that kept going in and out. But now his name held some weight and some water to it, right? So now it was kind of like, hey, I ain't even gonna speak on the homie because you fuck around and get whacked, fucking with, talking bad on the homie. One thing you don't do is talk behind someone's back. You don't disrespect them or their gente behind their back, man. Be a man and say it to their face, or don't fucking say it at all, straight up. But anyways, that's the agenda, and that's the time he was on. So I was on a whole different time, just peeping the scene from the background, the man behind the curtain. Now, this guy starts to develop, like I said, a keen way of thinking, a certain way of thinking. So I'm of the understanding, okay, he's going to get out and get straight to the business, but I'm hoping because of the status that I once had and because of where I was at in my life, I could assist him in properly keeping him out there, man, because he was that one. He was that man. He elevated to that. So I knew he was going to get out, get some type of keys in the city of Merced and wiggle. But that was to never pass, right? So somewhere along the line, this guy ended up catches a shoe term. And he's in Pelican Bay and he's doing his shoe term. And he meets the heavy hitters and the people of the who's who of the who the fuck are they? The real ones, right? And so he starts to get educated and laced up in that situation and almost gets to a certain point where he's going to be pulled as a certain person. We're not even going to go into the details, but let's just say he was striving hard. His life changed. You know, I ain't gonna say it changed for the better, but it changed according to, you know, the wiggle and the road that he went. It was only a matter of time, this guy getting in and out incarcerated, that he was gonna run into that one, Holmes, that was gonna pull him and put him in a position. So anyways, we're hearing big things about this guy, man. He's gonna get out. He's gonna really lace the town up. He's gonna put the shit back on the map. This, and that, and that, and this. But it never happens. Let me tell you what happens. So this guy gets out. Oh, he makes it out, right? What we didn't know was what had happened behind locked doors before he got out. So this guy gets out and gets straight with the program. And when I say straight with the program, meaning he taps in with the guys of the who's who of the town, the guys that are that little circle doing their thing, you know, regiment business. So he taps in and decides that if for no other reason, he's going to lay some people down. He's going to do some robberies. He's going to do a whole lot of gangster shit, right? Against his own homeboys, a lot of red on red. And so word circulates around town. We're hearing, hey, this Volta got out on, man, he got out on some straight murder game shit. He got out fucking robbing everybody, pillaging the whole village. This Volta is on his own and his lonesome. And so now word's out, all out bulletin, look for this dude, man. If you see him, do something bad to him. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and say I was looking for him or I wasn't. You hear that? Listen closely. That's all I got to say about that, right? So I was just doing my own thing, my own program. Let's just say I moved up out of state, got the fuck away from that situation. You understand? Now, the word on the curb was that he was doing this quite extensively. So come to find out, we started to hear about what really happened. So this guy, prior to him getting out, about a month to him getting out, he was in Pelican Bay. He fell off. Okay, he fell off. He locked it up. What's the reasoning behind it? I've heard a lot of different stories, so I'm not going to sit out here and spew lies because I don't know. But he locks it up for whatever reason and joins a dropout gang. How that happened that fast, I don't know. Maybe that was already in the works. Maybe he already had that agenda. Maybe he was already working on that and went in as an undercover homeboy that still was an active homeboy, that really wasn't an active homeboy, that wasn't trying to be an active homeboy, but he was. I don't know. I know he goes in and he falls off and then he starts to get affiliated with a different group, you know, and gets out with that agenda, man, to apply the pressure to the active homeboys. Now, we didn't know. And the reason we didn't know in the town was anyone that knows Pelican Bay this is pre end of hostilities, pre them hitting the yard. Everybody that was back there for decades. Everyone that was back there for the duration. Most guys in Pelican Bay were validated and were never getting out, man, unless you fell off, dropped out, or whatever the case may be. You can parole. Now, don't get it twisted. For those of you that get all mixed up, think you're just there in a dungeon forever. No, if your parole date comes up, you can go. Just if you ever get incarcerated back, violations, whatever, you're going straight back to the shoe because you're a validated gang member and you cannot be on them líneas, on the main line. That's how it was. It's different now. Now there is no validation, or there is validation, but you're not sitting back in the oil or the shoe for the indeterminate, meaning you're not going to sit there forever. And that's a blessing, you know, that's a fucking blessing, true blessing. Anyways, and they fought hard for that. Now, so he was back there pre, you know, all this. He didn't have an indeterminate. I don't believe so, but he still was with the wigglization. So the Volta falls off, and of course back then, you know, it took mail a long time to get to the calles. Voltas didn't have phones. There ain't none of that in Pelican Bay. You're lucky if you get a fucking sopita and a tube of toothpaste in a bag, right? So he didn't have none of that. So the communication was lacking. You know, the communication was very slow. It was tortuga status, you know. But this Volta's like a conejo out there, really hipping and hopping. So he gets straight out and knows that it's only a matter of time before his filth is discovered. And they do him like Omar Suarez and throw him off the helicopter. So the Volta got straight to the program. Now, getting straight to the business can mean a lot of things. It means 3 different things in the game of the streets, especially if you're Mexicano and you come from a certain group. Here's one of the things it means. Getting straight to the business means getting out there, man, and getting straight to taking care of the homies, giving back to the gente, taking care of your fucking, your peoples and your casa, and fucking, you know, sending some paper back, getting straight to the business at hand, what you were told to do, it was implied for you to do, and what you know you have to do. That's getting straight back to the business, man. Voltas that get out and they don't even fucking press go. They just go, homie. Jump how high? They're already up there. That's getting to the business. Or also getting to the business is going out there and acting a fool. Like this Volta, he would get straight to the business of the streets, man. He was out in the spoon. He was out there jacking people. He was out there acting a fool. And hey, ultimately, he was going to end up either killed or incarcerated. That was his business, and he got straight to it. Or there's a third one, which I like. It's my favorite, right? Getting straight to the business of being a man. getting straight to the business of going out and taking care of your family, raising your kids, waking up in the morning instead of rolling up a mattress, taking your fucking daughter to school, going to apply for jobs, making a resume, homes, hey, building some credit, doing things of that nature that a men have to do. Spencer, you got to work, ese. Stop being fucking lazy and think you can sell dope your whole life, man. This shit's only going to work out for so long. You know what I mean? You're not even fucking Scarface got whacked at the end. It just ain't a good look, man. It's something you can't do forever. Ain't nothing against the people that are out there deep winning and balling. Get your issue, man. I can't speak on your game and your game can't speak on me. But one thing I will say is a fact. Yes, the wind blows and so the feds be watching, right? And we don't need none of that in our lifetimes. Now, I'll say this. That's 3 elements of getting to the business. I've seen every different thing. I've participated in all 3. Well, not all 3 because I was never a dope fiend. But I definitely participated in 2 of them. So I know what it is, man, to obligate yourself to the homies, man, and to be a real one. I remember getting out of county jail one time. I'm on the block, right? And I remember, I was feeding the homeboys dreams. This is a cold part of the game. I knew in my mind I didn't have a motherfucking pot to piss in. I had some fat chick that was already boning the homeboy the day after I went in. So I was hoping that she didn't give him all my clothes. So I didn't know what I was going to get out to. I was going to get out to homeless, bone, bone, bone. He'll even eat a bone, bone. It was all bad, right? Straight caldo de pollo. So I get out, and of course she's still there, tawanga, but she's still there. So I get a quick mamon before she feeds me some fucking frijoles charros. And then I eat good, and I'm like, okay, making sure, okay, so I'm only missing 2 pairs of boxers and a pair of socks, so it's not that bad. It means it was only probably 3 dudes. One of them didn't work out on this. So anyways, I'm right there fucking trying to figure out the situation, and I had told the homeboys prior to getting out, I'm bullshitting them, lying, humps, firing it up, tapatio, straight fucking, what's that shit? Chili garlic sauce. I was giving them straight sriracha without sriracha from China, right? So I'm over there feeding them dreams. Hey, I'm out there balling, homie, I'm having it, yeah? And then guess what? The homie said, oh, you're having it? Well, you already know you got to kick in when you get out to the homeboys. So I made it a fact to get straight to the business, to pull a couple of, what they call those licks, to do my thing, to handle my business. So that way, just so, not I could pay my rent, not so I could go buy my daughter some new shoes, not so I could do this, so I could fucking send some homeboys that I had never even met before, half of them, $30 on their books, man. So that way they're happy, just so I could be cool, eh? I'm so cool that they call me culo. At the end, ultimately, how did it end up for me? I got everyone in America on my headpiece. I got more dropouts that don't like me. I got more active friends than I do dropouts. It's crazy. But it's just the way the game goes. When you're participating, you get straight to the business. Where does the business help you at? I'm not here to poison people. I'm not here to turn anyone against the cause. I'm here to say, man, if that's you, do you well, bro. I'm just telling you my life stories, my experiences. Anyways, this Vato got straight with it. Ultimately, what ended up happening was everyone in the town wanted to whack this dude. This dude did walk into a police station and alert the authorities that everybody was on his head, that, there had been a green light put on him by a certain group, and that he couldn't wiggle in the town no more. Meanwhile, this Vato was taking the initiative to really go out there and wiggle on the streets. Now, I'm not going to tell you the pressure he was applying and what he was doing, because that'd be telling, right? Let's just say he wasn't no punk. He was, but he wasn't. And he wasn't, but he was. But he did his thing, and ultimately, man, he ended up catching an attempted murder and getting locked up and doing a whole lot of time. And that was just what it was, man. People weren't able to get their get-backs like they wanted. It's just an unfortunate and a true story about different situations you can find yourself in. What are you truly going to get into? The dudes that are incarcerated right now that are watching this on their tablets or their phones, you know what I mean? It's like, if you got one, make sure you tuck it and just say, fuck it. But if you got that, heed the word when I say, bro, it's a crazy world out here, man. Shit, rent ain't cheap, bro. There's a lot of different things going on, man. If you decide to get to the bag, man, if you decide to do whatever you do in life, man, do it well and do it swell. Just like when you go out there and you do machina, man, and you dedicate yourself to the fullest, and you're doing that last fucking burpee and you're shaking like that. Like Swifty Blue was in that video after doing 10 push-ups. When you're doing that, bro, that's how it is out here, bro. You got to really apply pressure and really get it. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the stories today on Collective Clips. True stories, facts. I've seen things, man. I've seen a lot of things that I shouldn't have seen, and they'll die with me. With that being said, move smooth with a purpose. Get everything you want coming to you. And remember, at the end of the day, I'm going to struggle and strive to struggle. You want to struggle with me and strive? It's a lovely thing. You know what I mean? When you see your kid smile, when you see that motherfucking burrito from the taco truck, and that motherfucker savory too. They don't just come like that. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You already know what it is. This is the Collective Clips. Like, subscribe, notification bell, turn it to all. Bam, and be ready for tomorrow. Bang, bang.